The Garden Flipper DLC for the game House Flipper is finally here. Now this DLC is going to cost $14.99, however it is on sale for 10% off until May 23rd and it'll cost $13.49. Once you purchase the DLC, you'll gain access to a couple new tools that you'll be able to use outside of your house. The first one is going to be the shovel, which you can see here. It's pretty self-explanatory, you just use it to dig up the mounds of dirt that you can see outside of the house. Now the second tool you will gain access to is the hose. This essentially just replaces the cleaning tool that you use for inside and outside. Now instead you get to use the hose to hose down all the graffiti and dirt that you see all over the place. And the third and final tool you will get with this DLC is the Weed Whacker. And this is just used to cut down all the tall grass that you can see. And if you look at the top right of the minimap, you'll be able to see the darker green is the high grass you can cut. Now, since this is the garden DLC, and with gardening comes a lot of weeds, you also have the ability to pick said weeds. Now, in the store for the garden DLC, they have a whole bunch of different items as well, including pools, tables, new couches, sand, swing sets, all types of stuff that you would see out in a backyard or a front yard. Under one of the tabs will be surface, which is basically just your flooring. Here you can place stepping stones in varying different sizes. You can have a ton of different pathways and walkways surrounded by smaller stones and stuff like that. Just a whole plethora of different items, even sand and gravel. Now, while most of the flooring is pretty natural where you just place it block by block, the sand and the gravel is a little different. The closest thing I could compare it to is the old Microsoft Paint back in the day where you would get the little spray brush and just kind of spray paint all around. That's kind of what it reminds me of. Along with the stones, the gravel, the sand, and all that stuff, you can also roll out turf. They have 3 different sizes, a large, a small, and a medium, and essentially what this does is if you have dry dirt or patches in your yard that is not covered with grass, it allows you to roll fresh grass onto it. Now, one of the most anticipated things for the garden DLC is actually gardening. And when I say they have a plethora of different types of plants, flowers, trees, pear trees, apple trees, all different kinds of plants that you can plant. The process to planting is pretty easy. You just need to select your plant and place it where you want it to go. Then you need to dig a hole, plant it, fill in the soil, and finally water it with the hose. Once you do that, it will be fully planted. There's also going to be a bunch of new skill points that are coming to this as well. The one that I find the most useful is on the right. It's similar to finding dirt and cobwebs in your house. It allows you to see the weeds that you need to pick on the minimap as well as uncut grass and moles. Now, they also have a bunch of new missions with this DLC as well. Now, I'm not sure how many there are exactly, but you can see here that there are a lot. What I'm going to do to wrap up this video is just go through the catalog of all the items that are available in this DLC. Now, there is so many, so I'm not going to go slowly, and I'm not going to show you every single one what it looks like when you place it, but I will go through the entire catalog so you can actually see how much is in this DLC and why it's not free like the Apocalypse one was, because the Apocalypse only had a handful of items, whereas the Garden DLC it's almost like a second game and a second mission where instead of just doing the inside of your house, now you do the outside as well.